Today we're going to talk about a really important topic called Federated API Gateway Management. In simple word, it's multi-API gateway management. What is it exactly? How are enterprises ending up in a situation where they have multiple gateways to manage and how to do it well? First of all, we need to understand how gateways are acquired. Usually, if you look online about most popular gateways, you'll find that a lot of them are associated with leading cloud providers. To me, it sounds like a lot of decision making related to acquisition of gateways is not very conscious. It usually bundles with a cloud provider, making it a commodity in these times. Gartner in recent report has mentioned that a lot of organizations sleepwalk into a distributed and complex architecture, which means usually they start simple with single gateway, but a lot of times with increased use cases, they end up with a complex architecture. There are a few examples of this, like sometimes they might use a lightweight gateway for their microservices rate limiting, and sometimes even, for example, they might have different departments that have their own budgets to acquire, and there might be some engineering preferences of the team. So overall, with time, the complexity of architecture increases. And this trend is only going to go up, according to Gartner. In the next 3 years, the number of organizations with multiple gateways is going to increase almost to threefold. So that brings us to the concept of Federated API Gateway Management. In simple word, it's basically managing every aspect of all your gateways under a single control plane. Now, those aspects are like policy management, configuration, role-based access control so that nothing breaks when you are shipping something, and a lot of visibility into into the metadata of APIs and not just what the traffic looks like. A lot of observability tools claim to be a federated API management platform, but what they lack generally is the context across all gateways, like policy management and what I mentioned just now. Now that we have understood the context, let's take a look at why it matters to have a control plane for all your API gateways. If you have multiple environments, you need that control plane to look through each of them and compare your basic metrics. Otherwise, there might be some standards or regulation updates or even general internal audit. And if you don't have full visibility into what types of policies are enforced in your gateways, there might be potential for some leaks and security incidents. And that is what brings me to the good features that you need to have in a good control plane. So when we talk about an ideal platform, it should have a similar experience when somebody is managing one gateway as to another. You don't need to learn the gateway as such. If you know the fundamentals, you should be able to manage and govern the policies in that gateway. Also, you need to have a layer of automation. For example, if you have set up some organizational policies like, okay, I need these 7 to 8 or maybe n number of policy auto applied to all the proxies in all my environment, there should be a system for that. There might be few configurations that might have few flaws and that needs a proper approval. There might be breaking changes. So all that configuration management needs to go through a robust role-based access control and approval process. Not an exhaustive list, but the last crucial part is having a full visibility into all the policies, plugins, proxies, and how the traffic is behaving across all of them, and not just in single context across all of them with all the necessary metadata. Who owns that proxy? Who is the person who you need to reach out in case of an incident? So that needs a platform which has context across the API lifecycle. And a lot of time people ask, oh, I understand that I have multiple gateways. I even have a platform. What are the other things that I need to do in my API lifecycle process itself in order to have a really high quality APIs that are monetizable and you can distribute them for increasing revenue? Obviously, first of all, you need a working catalog. Without a catalog, you can't manage what you don't know. So obviously, you need to have a discovery and a cataloging process. Secondly, if any incident happens, you need to have a robust security pipeline, which is a list of policies that get enforced. And if something happens, something violation happens, it takes auto corrective actions. Lastly, a good federation platform, apart from federating APIs, also gives you context across all your environments. You need all the metrics and observability across not just related to your API traffic, but how your policies are being addressed. That also ties in with your governance. So that's it for this video. In the next video, we'll see how you can use APIwiz to manage all your gateways.